Hello, I'm Chris Olson with Questica. I'm going to provide an overview of Questica. To begin with the basics, Questica Budget software is a browser-based software that allows you to develop, maintain, and analyze your budget. It reduces the processes and multiple sources of information that are often manual and process flows like spreadsheets, emails, and lists, and establishes one source of truth. It does not replace your accounting system. In fact, Questica will integrate with your accounting system. For example, Questica will import actual expenses from your accounting system and export out the final budget to your accounting system, recognizing that this is your system of record. I'll start by showing you dashboard features that you can use, then we'll talk about how to enter a budget request and how to enter a transfer or change request. Then we'll look at reports and queries. To be clear, today's overview is not intended to be comprehensive training for you. As you view the demo, keep in mind that behind the scenes is user security that's been implemented. Each Questica user is assigned to a permission group, which determines what they can or can't see or do. That also applies to reports and dashboards. And this is done not only for security purposes, but also to streamline the user's interface to include only what each end user needs to do their job. Also behind the scenes is workflow. During implementation, your budget office will identify the workflow to control the budget process. It can be any number of stages, and they'll determine the labels for each stages. What you're seeing on the screen right now is just an example. Budgets can flow in either direction, promoted up or promoted down the chain. And as budgets move through the stages, things happen. Notices are mailed out, emailed out to selected users. Snapshots are taken. Permission sets might change. For example, when a department user promotes their budget, they lose edit rights, but they can still view the data. You can choose different workflows for the original operating budget and then different types of change requests. So let me exit out of these screens here and then share my software screen. So now you should be seeing a login screen in your field of view. And let me make a few general remarks about the Questica Budget software. As you can see, you access it from your browser. We support Microsoft IE, Edge, Chrome, Firefox. We also use your single sign-on method, so you won't have to log in as I am doing here, but I'm doing this for demo purposes. It is hosted on the cloud, and I'm going to log in as a department user named Alan. So each end user in Questica can design their own dashboards, and you can have multiple dashboards defined as I have here. And these dashboards can have multiple widgets on them, what we call widgets. So you can have websites, this is interactive here. So as I click on this, I'll move to a different page on the website. Likewise, this report can also be active with drill through and drill down capabilities, and you can move along the different charts and pie charts here. My screen's a bit crowded just for demo purposes, but you can have count widgets. The budget office might communicate with you in different ways through text boxes, we can have budget to actuals here, different stages of the budget. You'll notice that there's also a notification up here that could also come from your budget office. So let's talk about entering budget requests. There's several different ways to access a budget. For example, the bookmark feature here works much like the bookmark feature in your browsers in that it allows you to jump directly to the most commonly used parts of the system. And so here, Alan's got a report, and he can have multiple reports bookmarked. And he's also got the budget that he's responsible for bookmarked here. The annual summary shows you budget to actual for previous years, which is useful when developing a budget. And again, Questica will import those from your accounting system or your ERP system. The details then show each line item that has been expanded. I've got revenues on top and then expenses on the bottom here. You'll notice as we scroll through here, some of these are grayed out, and that's because they're calculated by our salary engine, and Alan doesn't have permission to change those. Some of those might be grayed out because the budget office locked them for further edits. And so here we see that there's several operating expenses here for travel. So we've got a lot of different travel here. Let me enter just one more in to demonstrate how you would request more travel. You don't have to have your codes memorized. I can just type in travel here, and I can give a description. And this strategic value field is something that your budget office may set up, and it will contain the strategic values for your campus. You can also identify that this is a mandatory field if you want. If this is a one-time travel expense, you could mark it as such, and then you would enter in the amount field here, and now we have a new request, as you'll see down here. There's a lot of other tools that you can use. You can also upload a file or a link here to provide more justification, for example, for this. So perhaps you got invited to present here, and so you could select that file and then add it to this request, and it'll go along as this request or budget is being moved up or down the promotion and demotion change. You can also add in internal comments here, some back and forth between, say, the department and the actual budget office. And then you can also distribute expenses out throughout the year. So you can enter them in as an annual expense and then distribute them evenly throughout the months or throughout just the academic year. So all of this is designed to reduce some back and forth between departments and the budget office. Another thing that Alan might be able to do is allocate different positions to different cost centers. And so he can do that in a number of ways. You can use a percentage or an FTE amount or the quantity, and then change this to different amounts. You can also allow Alan as a department user to add a new position allocation here. Typically, the department level user does not update things like salaries or benefits. Alan could also set up different scenarios by copying this scenario and then changing some variables in it and then doing comparisons between the scenarios. And then once he's done with his budget, then he can promote it up to the next level for review. So then what happens when things change after the budget has been approved? We all know that that happens, and Questica has a feature to accommodate that called change requests. And so let's come in here and add a new change request. You would identify the budget, or the type of request. So let's just use a transfer here, and then the department that is responsible for that. So we'll stick with our nursing department here. These can be numbered automatically, or you can override that if you're allowed to do that. And now let's go ahead and add that change request here. We'll stick with the registered nursing program for the cost center. And then we'll continue to pick on travel here and maybe move some money out of this particular travel account. And again, you can write a description here. So if you want to move it out, then it would be a negative figure. And then if you'd want to add some in, so again, we would go to the cost center and then pick a different GL account. So maybe we want to do more travel for development purposes, and then we'll add it in here. Behind the scenes, Questica can ensure that budget transfers are balanced or a net zero if you want to set it up that way. So now let's talk about making good use of the information in Questica Budget to help decision-making across the campus, and Questica offers several different ways to do that. So let's move over to our reporting section. We've got several different reports here. As you can see, I can scroll through and there's a variety of reports. You can filter, sort, or search on these. So let's bring up my actual to budget. It's one of our most popular reports. You've got several different options for the parameters up here in terms of how you want to view the data. I'm just going to use what I used the last time I ran this, which is always an option. So here I'm grouping by department, and I can decide the month end date. So as I scroll through here, I'm looking at different departments. And this is one of the reports that has drill through and drill down capabilities. So let me drill down on the state revenues. These figures that are displayed in blue, I can drill through on them to see the individual transactions. We also have something we call smart reports, which combine actual row and column reports with visual graphics. So let me see. Let me choose this particular smart report. And again, the graphics could be pie charts, bar charts, linear gauges, row and column reports will come underneath this. And then in addition to reports, we also offer online views. The feedback we've received is many times you don't need a full-blown report. You just need to see the data sliced and diced in different ways. And so we offer a very easy way to do that. And then lastly, we have our open book transparency tool that allows your institution to share budget data in a controlled fashion through interactive graphics, through the website, out to selected users or to the general public. And so you can decide how far down to let them drill. You can pivot the data in different ways, and you can have multiple years being shown as well. So that's a very quick tour of what's available through Questica. Thank you very much for your interest.